And we turn our attention back to the United States, where late-night TV host rallying around Jimmy Kimmel, who has been suspended from the ABC following his statement on Charlie Kirk's death. I'm joined by media development expert and founder, Clevaro Communications, Ari Leonard. He joins us to talk about this latest incident in the United States. Good to have you join us at this time. Mr. Leonard, I'm hoping you can hear me, or you kindly unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So let's start with...
Thanks for having me.
Right. Let's start with your own observation of Jimmy Kimmel's criticism of the conservative response to Kirk's death. Would you say it was a valid exercise of freedom of speech, or did he cross the line?
Well, according to the way things are in the United States, they have freedom of speech, so they are allowed to say a lot of things that we might not find very palatable here. And that's what we need to know, the context, the country in which he said what he said. And even though I didn't really follow it fully, but from the little things I've heard are things that have been said before. But the challenge with such is that when it's coming from someone, having a certain status and influence in the public, then it becomes an issue. So that's the thing that is there. And some of them on those programs usually share, personal opinion. That's the way their programs are structured, and that's the catch and the sell for their show. And over time, it's been allowed, but we've also seen cases where even in the US, certain comments have led to certain public outcry, and that's what is now making it an issue.
And well, it was a monologue, which of course gave him the opportunity to express himself as he should. But from his statement, just to give you a background to what he said, he kind of insinuated that they were politicizing Kirk's death. But from what you are seeing, because this has happened also with the Voice of America, how do you think this raises concerns about the hold of the government over media rights in the U.S. at the moment?
For Donald Trump, it was very clear that he was going to do what he's doing now, even before he came in. He had always said it. He had always been against certain media. And unlike the case in Nigeria, in the US, there are media organizations owned by certain groups who don't hide their stand. They make it clear. In Nigeria, we don't do that here. You have to be as neutral as possible. But in the US, it's clear. There are media organizations that take a certain stand and they stick to it. So Trump has always been against any media organization that goes against his views and all that. There are organizations owned by the Democrats who would always try all they can to make Trump look bad. And there are also the ones owned by him himself and his allies that portray him, as the main person. So it was clear. So what is not clear is how the media itself prepared to counter this. So personally, I think the US media, they were banking on the US freedom of speech, their constitution, and what had been happening in the past, and did not prepare for Trump's coming. Not too long ago, someone else was removed. And if you check the ownership of the media organization, where I think from CBS or so, where the other person was removed, that organization, the mother body, had some dealings with government. And it was as if the guy was now the scapegoat to be sent away. So in America, they could be biased towards political parties, organizations, and it's been going on like that for long. But from what Trump has done, it has shown that he was smart about it. In his first tenure, he couldn't really do it because he had not thought of what federal laws to use. Now he is using certain federal laws that are available. And that is what I think the media did not plan for. So there are laws that are there that he could use. And then those organizations could say they are clamping down on the media, but it's actually the president himself directing them to do that, which is not really a good sign. Because if such things could start happening in America, then areas where you have dictatorship or where you have democracies that are skewed, or even in cases Nigeria here where we still have some hidden press freedom issues. I don't think it's really public Nigeria, but it's really hidden on the ground. And then we could have political officers, governors, and so on taking advantage.
Well, even before now, I mean, there have been concerns about the attitude of the president really to the media. It has not been really so welcoming. But the president in his defense was saying that the networks have been really negative about him, talking about his own first term. And he's saying that he's going to have their licenses taken away. But do you think the president really has the legal authority to revoke media licenses? We'll continue this conversation much later with media development expert and